Alright guys, sorry if that's a little bit loud. I'm kind of working the bugs out. It's been a while. Welcome back to Zando Football. Definitely appreciate the support. I've been gone for a while, but I'm dabbling in with what we got going on with College 25 and soon to be Madden 25. So hopefully I stick around. We'll see what happens. So I don't know if this will be my second, third, or fourth video. You guys know when I start a video in any cycle, it's always going to be pre-snap reading is the first video. Okay, so if that hasn't dropped yet, then obviously that will be the second video. Okay, but I want to go over split safety structure defenses against trips. Now, I think this will kind of set the mood or set the tone for this year's game. So we got it against 3x1 or trips. Okay, and obviously split safety defenses, it's going to be cover 4, cover 2 zone, cover 2 man, or cover 0. Obviously, we know that cover 0 is not a true split safety defense. It's really a no safety defense, but I group it with these three because it's just easier to see it this way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely go watch my pre-snap reading videos. Okay, so I think this will kind of help a lot of people in regards to the responsibilities and how things are coded in the game. Now down here I have full field and then I have true split field, and I have that for a reason. Okay, and we're briefly going to go over this. So quarters, if it's in yellow, it's really a full field defense. If it's in white, it's a true split field. So when you call quarters in Madden, it's a match defense, and they're going to play differently depending on the splits of how the formation, the offense is set up. I'm going to show you real quick. So quarters is a full field, and I'll show you why I have it that way here. So, okay, they come out in trips. You call quarters, they're coming out in trips, all right? So obviously we have 1, 2, 3. This is their strong side. In regards to the passing strength of the formation, this is the weak side. Okay, and when you call quarters, this is the very first thing I always think about when I call quarters is where is the bubble? Okay, and what I mean by bubble is the bubble is right here. Okay, we have a bubble here, and once you remember the responsibilities of the 1-2 to 2-1 and the match 2 out, it's easier for you to figure out what's going on in almost any other coverage when it comes to split safety. Like cover 4 and palms. Okay, so this corner here is reading 1 to 2. All right, so if 1 goes vertical, then he's going to match him man to man. Okay, and if 2 were to go shallow or underneath or not a vertical pattern, then he's not going to take number 1, and then he's going to get his eyes on number 2. Right, so if we have an instance to where number 1 runs like an underneath in, let's say this guy runs a corner. Okay, in this instance, at the stop of the ball, is 1 vertical? No. All right, get my eyes on number 2, and then he's going to look to bracket this. Now, why do I say bracket? That's because the safety is reading 2 to 1. Okay, he's looking at 2. If 2 is vertical, then he takes him man to man. So if we have something like this, like a post pattern, then he's going to match that man to man. Okay. However, in an instance to where this guy runs underneath, let's say he runs an out. All right, well then he's out of the process. He doesn't take him because he's taken care of by somebody else in the defense, and now he's getting his eyes on number 1. He's looking to play, I believe they call it Rob post dig curl technique, to where if this guy were to run, let's say a post, a dig, or a curl, he's going to look to play inside of those routes, because in those instances the outside corner would be man-to-man on those routes as well. And that's what I meant by bracket earlier. So if this guy were to run a corner and this guy ran inside, right? I'm reading 1 and 2. 1 is inside. I don't have him. So I'm looking to bracket number 2 because he's taking the vertical of number 2, right? This is one of the benefits of quarters coverage. It's a defense that adapts to what the offense does. So in an instance to where this guy runs a corner, you know, we have a double on the deeper of the 2 routes. Okay, now obviously there are weaknesses in a coverage like this. So you can think about it right now without looking at everything else in the defense, which we will do. I mean, what would you draw up to try to attack this? Well, this is where you get into stuff like the Mills concept, where you have this guy run like a deep dig, and then this guy runs like a deep post, right? And you can imagine one of the issues here, because now I have to take this route one-on-one, and now I'm one-on-one with this route with all of this space for this receiver to attack. Okay, so maybe I'll leave it at that. Now let's get to this guy here. He's the match 2 out player. Okay, basically if 2 runs out, then he's going to match this route, right? Now if this guy were to run vertical, let's say this guy, we get like the smash concept. I believe what he's supposed to call is under, like an under call to this guy to alert this guy. He's going to leave that underneath hitch because he's got to match and bracket this guy, and that alerts him to have to get out to the flat. Okay, the 3 rec player is dealing with the 3. I'm not going to get into deep detail about that. Okay, well, matter of fact, I have to in this, because this is what I mean by full field coverage. This is not a true split field coverage against trips. Against 2x2 sets it is, but against a 3x1 set it is not. And what do I mean by that is, if you were to split the offense down the middle, okay, a true split field coverage would keep these 3 defenders over these 2 offensive threats. And then on this side, we get 4 on 3. That's one of the benefits of a split field coverage, to where we have a +1 in the pass distribution on both sides of the field. But when you call quarters against trips, we don't get a true split field coverage. We actually get a 5 on 3 deal. And the reason why I say that is because we are, in most instances, we are taking the backside safety and taking him away from the backside of the coverage. He's involved in the pass distribution on the front side in certain circumstances. And what I mean by that is, he is matching the vertical of number 3. And if number 3 does not go vertical, then he's supposed to play hash control. And then we have a problem in the game that I'm going to show you. All right, so what I mean by this is, the very first thing you want to check when you look at a game is, how does a defense play against 4 verts? So if I want to learn how they have something coded in the game, you want to run 4 verts first and go from there, right? So when you run 4 verts, okay, what would happen here? Well, he has to match 1. Well, what does he have to? He has to match 2. Well, we have a problem here, right? Who's going to take the vertical of number 3, right? And this is where we get this guy, the backside safety. He has to hedge over and take the vertical of number 3. And that's why it's important for the 3 rec here. That's why at first I was going to skip this, but I can't. The 3 rec wants to wall off the number 3 and make him kind of ride the hump to give enough time for this backside safety to climb over and take the vertical of number 3. You can imagine if he did not wall off this inside and he played further to the weak side, the quarterback could just rip a quick throw into the number 3 up the middle of the field, right? So he has to kind of provide resistance for that throw and hand him off to the backside safety, right? So everyone's responsibilities in every defense is very important. Now, you see, with us taking him for the vertical of number 3, turning that into a 5-on-3 deal on the front side, it makes it to where we have to play Meg on these 2 backside defenders. Meg simply means man everywhere he goes. Okay, now, and what happens if the number 3 does not go vertical, right? Let's say he were to run, who knows, a hitch or out, or he stays underneath where he can take them. Okay, this is where the game messes up, where he's supposed to, because he's reading 3, and when he knows 3 doesn't go vertical, well, then he can play maybe in the hash or hard post, or he can help out on the backside on 1, right? But when you play the game and you do a combination like this guy bugs out and he kind of like jogs across the line and he's just out of the play. So there's something very important to understand. So when you call this defense, what I like to do, or what I think you should do, is just user this player. Know what you're supposed to do, right? So if 3 goes vertical, you have to take them. But if 3 were to stay underneath, then know that, okay, hey, I can play in the hash and help out on a post pattern from the backside, or a curl, or a dig, or you could do a number of things. You can look to work towards the front side to squeeze 2 and 1, etc., right? But you picking this player is far better than allowing the computer to play this player, because in an instance to where this guy stays underneath, he just bugs out and now you're 10 versus 11. All right, so that's good to know. So let's see what else I have here. That might be it for... Oh, I think I go over... So, let's see here. Yeah, so now I see what I'm doing. So I'm not going to do this with every defense because I think it'll go a little bit too long. But right away, you know, let's go over some of the weaknesses or how you can attack this in the pass. Okay, so obviously we know about Mills' concept, right? But one of the ways you can attack a coverage like this is the backside, right? Because now, because you're Meg, man everywhere he goes, and you don't really have help, okay? Well, then we can work one-on-one here, okay? And what you can do is you could just assure that you can help on the backside by making sure your number 3 goes vertical. And when you do that, you clear this guy out, and now you have no help whatsoever. Now, you could do this either way, because in the game, if you don't control this player, you could easily just draw anything up, and he's just going to bug out, and you're still one-on-one, right? So this is where I showcase. I'm going to bring the volume down because I think it's too low. Different things you can do against like a quarters coverage, where you can work backside if you have a bona fide stud, one-on-one with a corner. And this is an instance where if you have a defense and you're calling quarters, let's say you have a stud at corner, this would be a good defense to call against trips. Because, you know, you'd steal this guy more so for the front side of the coverage, knowing that I can lock him up one-on-one and not be concerned about needing help over here. So here's another issue, right? Again, we have one-on-one, right? Well, what if they drew up something where we have a wheel concept from the back, leaving this guy one-on-one with this guy, right? So here, I mean, right away, you can see some of the ways an offense can attack quarter. And look, you see how he's bugging out there? Right, so this is where we just go over the top here, back on the weak side backer. Right? Oh, so this, yeah, so I had this in here, game exploit. Watch how the backside safety, because the number 3 does not go vertical, he's supposed to play hard in the hash or look to help on a post, dig curl here, etc. But he does the total opposite. He just bugs out, right? He just has no idea what he's doing. So this is an instance to where you can exploit this in a game, and theoretically this should never be here, right? So you can call a play to where you just have this guy run a hitch or an out, you know, even a crossing pattern, it doesn't matter because then he would match it. But look at the space available to throw like a deep post pattern from the backside wide receiver here, as we see here. So here I'm going to show just a couple of more route combinations here. And after this, I think I realized I think this video is going to be too long. So I think I'm only going to show just against quarters. The rest of the stuff, I don't think I'm going to show route combinations that you can use to attack. But, you know, you could run something like I have a whip and an out here, right? And the reason why this would be good is because, again, he's matching 2 out. So he's going to be cleared out with this out. And that forces the 3 rec to have to match the number 3, right? But you're playing with inside leverage, and I'm running it out, right? So as you can see here, look at the space here, right? He's drawing this guy out of there, and we had a fade here to take that corner out of there. And now look at all this space here due to the route combination. Here's another problem against corners. This guy's playing with the inside leverage, your nickel, right? And he has to match 2 out. Well, if I'm outside and I run an out with you inside leverage, well then quite naturally it should be a pretty easy throw for the quarterback. You throw on time outside, speed out, and you should be good to go. So there's a concept you can use to attack. Double out concept from the 2 and the 3, stick concept, etc. Right? So, but that's why I have that in yellow. It's really a full field coverage, even though you call quarters, because the backside safety is involved with the front side of the coverage. All right, so let's get into palms. And this is where I was in total shock, guys. I almost wanted to cry. I'm not going to lie. And this ties into what I've been complaining about for years. For those of you who've been around on my channel for years, you know I've been saying this over and over again. And they finally got something right, and I just could not believe it. I just couldn't believe it, right? So when you call palms, it changes, okay? And that's why it's very important to know where the bubble is, right? Because it's easier for you to see it. Remember, in quarters, the bubble was here, right? But when you call palms, the bubble switches to these three over these two. Okay. And what we do is we got the front side corner. Now, instead of him being a 1-2 read, he's simply Meg, right? Man everywhere he goes on the 1. Essentially what we're doing is we are Xing out this wide receiver over here. And now, almost, I don't want to say ignore, but based upon the distribution and the defense, we are more concerned about what's going on here. So our safety and nickel corner are playing a 3-2 read. Okay, so you guys know this is the 3-2-1. All right, they are both reading the release of number 3. Okay, 3 dictates how I'm going to play, and what 3 does dictates how I'm going to play. All right, if 3 runs a vertical pattern, let's say a post, okay, then it will play like regular quarters with these two right here. All right, because I'm reading 3-2 is 3 vertical, yes, so I take him man to man. The nickel here is reading 3-2 as well. And when he sees 3 go vertical, well, then that ends the process because he knows that the safety will take him. And now I get my eyes on 2 and I take all of 2 vertical, right? So you may say, well, it kind of plays out like quarters in a sense. Well, yes, it does. But where it changes is where 3 goes out. Okay, if 3 were to run an out pattern, okay, the corner who's reading 3-2 is now going to take the out of 3. And it's really good because he has that out leveraged, right? He's in better position to defend that as opposed to this player here. All right, and now the safety who's reading 3-2, when he sees 3 go out, well, that ends his process there because he knows the nickel will take him, and now he gets his eyes on number 2, knowing that he has to take the vertical of number 2. So if you think about it, and this is the wall 3 player, think about it this way, X out player. How is that any different than like cover 2? Right? Vert, hook, cloud, deep half, safety. In a way, right? It's just kind of easier to see it that way. But that depends on what they do, right? If they were to do something like this, then yeah, it kind of plays like that. Except he's not going to drift off into space. He would match this route. But if they were to run 2 verticals, then it doesn't play like cover 2 because, again, the defense adapts to what the offense does. All right. Now, real quickly, I'll go backside. He's Meg on 2. He's Meg on 1. And this defense really frees up the backside safety because he's free. He doesn't necessarily have a responsibility. And he plays kind of like in a soft post area, post snap. So if there's a player that you want to control while playing palms against trips, usually I play the backside safety because I know I can roam around and do whatever it is I want to do because I'm not tied into anything on the defense. All right. Now, why would you want to play palms as opposed to quarters? And this is where I was just in total shock in how they got it right in College 25. Total shock. Okay. And what they call this in the Saban world is stubby, right? They don't call it palms. They call it stubby. It's the same thing. It's just a different term that they give palms. It's just called stubby. All right. Hey, when we're against trips, we're playing stubby this week. Whatever, right? Okay. Where you want to run stubby is when you have to deal with like an RPO action over here. Okay. Or there's instances where these guys are running like switch routes. This is where stubby is good. They love stubby against RPO action. And the reason why that is, okay, matter of fact, maybe I'll play it and we'll get to, this is where I was in shock right here. You guys have heard me say it over and over again. So this is the apex defender, the number 2. Whatever you call palms, I've said it in previous Maddens over and over again. Madden would always put this player inside leverage of the number 2, and that is incorrect. That's just not how it's done. Maybe in some coaching trees, I don't know. But from what I've read in my research, I've noticed in stubby, this guy is playing with outside leverage on the number 2. And when I saw this in college, I was in total shock that they actually got it right. Because this lets me know that they had an attention to detail by aligning him this way. When you call regular quarters against trips, he aligns inside, which is right. But when you call palms, he aligns outside or stubby, which is right, right? Previous Maddens, they would just always have him here, which is wrong. All right, and the reason why that is because remember he's a 3-2 read, and if 3 goes out, he can attach to that aggressively, right? Matter of fact, I'll play it and we'll get to the point. Let's move on here. And this is where you want to run palms or stubby when you get action like this, because think about it. Corner's locked on this guy. Nickel, safety, 3 rec. Okay. Against regular quarters with the nickel here, right? You could run this. I could run up and block this guy, and this could be a potential problem because I faked the handoff, which would hold these defenders if they have run fits. All right. Out of position, block, out of the play, throw the RPO, right? But in palms, 3, safety, corner, locked on him. Okay. I'm reading 3-2 at the snap of the ball, and it relieves the pressure of this defender as well. I won't get into that, but you snap the ball, you fake the handoff, right? He may crash in. And I'm reading 3. When I see 3 go out like this, I can attack it aggressively, right? Now, this guy may come to try to block me, but it's better for me to be outside as opposed to inside because I have leverage over this and I can attack this action as opposed to me being here. It doesn't matter if I see 3 going out. I'm trying to attack it and he could just seal me off, right? So, you know, I would run this in Madden. I would call palms because I played against a guy a long time ago. I was running quarters against a 3x1 set, and he kept running this RPO action, and it was killing me. I remember thinking, what can I do to stop this? And this is when it hit me. I'm like, oh, I should run palms, right? Because I know this safety should attack the number 3, right? And I ran it, and it didn't work in Madden. It's never worked in Madden because they just don't have it coded right? First of all, they have them inside, but even if you move them outside, it doesn't do anything. So noticing that in college, they put them outside, I'm hoping that they got it right? To where he actually plays the bubble the way he should. So I went in practice field, and I almost cried when I saw this. Look at that. I was in total shock, right? Outside leverage, reading the number 3, 3 goes out, attack aggressively. This is what Stubby, right? Should be reading this guy. He's going to block him, but attack with outside arm free. Right? Reading. So look, he's reading the 3. He's going out, so go get it, right? Go attack it. It's just beautiful stuff. So I was in shock. I just kept running it. I'm like, is this real? And it is. They got it. They got it right. Right? You guys know I've been talking about this over and over again. And this is why it's so important to you guys heard me say this. It's learn theory, learn the real stuff, because when Madden and college football gets things right, you will be so far ahead of your competition. It's not even funny, right? When you get that action on 3x1, you're playing quarters and you know he's going to run this action, you can call this and get a humongous play because you're a superior defensive coordinator as opposed to your opponent, right? Now, you may ask, okay, hey, that's kind of bullshit, because if I'm on offense, how can I know that they called this, right? And now I run my RPO and I throw this, and now I throw an interception. Well, easy. Pre-snap alignment, right? When you see this guy outside, you should just not throw this, right? This is a heavy potential that they have palm, stubby, whatever called, and he's leveraged this guy to the outside. He may attack this aggressively, right? So it's all about pre-snap reading. Inside and outside leverage can be the difference between everything, right? Now, if you came out in a play like this and he was inside, well then, yeah, we can call this knowing that he should be able to seal him off and we should be good. Now, another reason why you may call palms as opposed to quarters against 3x1 is where you get like switch releases from the 3 and the 2, right? Where, you know, maybe these guys are aligned closer together. and they're running stuff like this, right? So I'll show you an example of, so we have palms called, and look how they're crossing. Now, if we were in man, I would be here, and this guy would be here, right? We could potentially run into each other, and someone could break free. This is one of the benefits of stubby and palms, to where we remain in better position when they switch like that. And now I have better leverage on that, and he has better leverage on this. So it's just a brief look into, you know, one of the strengths of calling stubby and palms and stuff like that. But, you know, I won't go into deep detail about how to attack, weaknesses, and all that, because the video will be too long as it is already. All right, so let's get into cover 6. So I have that in white because it's a true split field coverage. I should have put that in there, but maybe I'll show it here. Let's go to cover 6 though. So I'll show it here. In palms, it's a true split field because we don't need him on the front side of the coverage, right? It's not a full field coverage. So what does that mean? That means we can do whatever we want on the backside. We could put him in a hook curl type deal. We could turn him into a flat. We could turn him into doubling this guy. We can bring him down and blitz him. We keep creativity alive on each side of the field when we run a true split field coverage. This is why I love split field coverages. We could do so many different things on the backside that has nothing to do with what's going on the front side, which I guess it's a good transition in the cover 6, right? So here we have cover 6, and you know, you may feel a little bit, you know, like a daunting task to learn all of these different coverages, but once you learn those first two, you pretty much know everything. And the reason why I say that is because when you call cover 6, again, split field coverage, we are still running exactly stubby or palms on this side. So because you learn palms, you already know how cover 6 plays. They're playing stubby on this side or palms, but on the back side, they're playing cover 2. That's it, right? Ties right into the fact of, again, split field coverages, to where we can play one split field coverage on this side and a different split field coverage on this side. And that's where we're going to get into cover 6 Willie, right? Everything is tying into things that I've been talking about for years, guys, right? So cover 6, deep half, cloud, vert hook, nothing more to say there. But over here, we're doing the same stuff. It's just palms. 3-2 read, 3-2 read, mag 1, and he's the wall 3 player. I should put wall 3 as opposed to 3 rec, right? No, actually, he's a 3 rec as opposed to wall 3. I'm getting a little bit too technical with the terms. I may be off, but we'll leave it at that, right? So let's go back here. And this is where I put this diagram where you have the center and the quarterback. Remember, this is the weak side due to the 1 and the 2, and this is the strong side due to the 1 to the 2 and the 3, right? Well, when you call cover 6, it's really just cover 2 zone on the weak side and palms on the strong side, right? See, when you call a split safety structure defense, you can call one split safety defense on one side. So we got cover 2 on this side, and then we can call a totally different one on the other side. That's where we have palms on the strong side, right? So that's why I took out cover 6. But I'm going to put it back in, but I just wanted to show you, you know, the nuances of split field, right? So let's get into cover 6 Willie, right? A new defensive play call in the playbooks, but it's the same thing I've been saying for years, right? Again, split field defense. What are we calling when you call cover 6 Willie? What are you getting? You already know what's going on. It's palms on this side. We already learned palms, right? So when you learn palms, you learn all of these defenses. You have palms on the strong side, but on the weak side, you're playing cover 2 man, which is another split field defense, right? He's playing inside leverage trail, man to man. He's man on the number 2, and he's the deep half, right? I like the term deep half 1/2 because you should be reading outside in 1 to 2, right? At least in my opinion, right? So stubby on the strong side, 2 man on the back side, right? So when you see these new play calls, cover 6 Willie, right? Some people may be confused. Okay, well, what does this do? All it is, you know, quarters on one side and man-to-man on the other side. Split safety defense. That's it. Okay? Now, against trips, they play stubby on the front side. Matter of fact, you know what? I should have went and checked that. but I'm pretty sure that that's what they play on the front side, stubby and not quarters. And I would assume that because quarters is a full field defense. You can't steal the backside safety to the front side and play Willie on the backside inside underneath trail man to man. So I'm just going to go ahead and 100% assume that they're playing stubby on the front side when you call cover 6 Willie. Right? And it just goes in when you know what's going on with these defenses and how they have it coded. It's just good to kind of understand what's going on, so you know how they're going to play based upon the formations. So cover 9, I'm not going to go into deep detail about this. Okay, this is this is a full field coverage. It's not a split field. And the reason why is because we are stealing the backside safety. He takes the vertical of number 3 inside. So if number 3 were to run a vertical, he has to take him. Okay. And we have, you know what, I have to check this, guys. But I'm going to go ahead and go over this. I think this is the one defense I didn't check in college 25. So hopefully I'm right here. I'll check and make sure. But I have him as a 21 vert match. And what does that mean? All right, so this guy's cloud. He's deep half. Yeah, I have to check this because this was in Madden 25. And this was the one defense in college 25 that I didn't check against trips. So I do have to check this. But if they kept the same coding, what happens is he's 21 vert match. What that means is he will match number 2 if he's vertical, only if number 1 is vertical as well. Right, so in a concept like this, he will match this. And the reason why that is because when you have 2 routes going deep, you're putting a lot of stress on this deep half safety. As opposed to if, let's say this guy were to go vertical, but this guy stays under, right? Then he's not going to match this. He can reroute and then stay in his vert responsibility. This guy would be cloud. And the reason why he wouldn't have to match this route up the field is because there's only one route attacking deep, and that does not put a lot of stress on the safety, and he could play more aggressively on that vertical pattern, right? So that's what I mean by 21 vert match. You guys know what cloud is. This deep half safety has some man responsibilities tethered to it based upon the route combination here. I'm not going to get into that. The video is already too long. And then I have 3 inside under on this guy. What that means is if the number 3 goes inside, then he takes that man to man. Okay, but if he goes deep, then obviously we have the vertical of number 3. He's taking him. Now, obviously, because we are taking the backside safety and using him for the front side of the coverage, what does that mean for the backside? We have to play man-to-man backside. So one of the problems when you steal the backside safety, okay, it takes away a lot of versatility on the backside because you're just forced to play 2-on-2, and you can't play anything other than man-to-man on both of these receiving threats. All right, so keep that in mind. I have to check cover 9. That's the one defense I don't think I checked in college 25. I think I was just so excited with what I saw from Palms actually playing that RPO action correctly, and I was checking out all the other stuff. Oh, and there's another thing in here that I love that I'm going to go over quickly. So 2-man is another split field defense. We don't have to go over much here. We all know that they all play with inside leverage, trail technique, because their help is to the outside, right? Man on 2, man on 3. Nothing really special there, but it is a split field defense. And it's good to know the responsibilities of this, so when you call cover 6 Willie, you know that it's just 2-man on the backside, right? You know what's going on over here. So 2-man, as you see, these are all true split field, full field, full field. And I think this is where we get into, no, Tampa 2. Okay, so Tampa 2, don't even do it, dude. Don't even do it. And what I mean by that is, don't even call this. At least against this formation. Or maybe I had a play call that was just destroying this, but from what I've seen, Tampa 2 is so horrible in this game. It's just a lot of problems here. Yeah, so maybe that's something I got to work on with Tampa 2. Oh, also, cover 2 match is kind of like in the trash can now, because I noticed that they changed it to where these guys are playing hook curl or hook areas, and they don't have it as the vertical hook, so they don't match. There are instances where you can change him to a vert hook, but I've noticed there are a lot of plays you can't. They don't award you the ability to do that, right? So that's a real bummer. I mean, they do a great thing with palms, and then I see something like this to where I can't play like cover 2 match. So that's something I gotta fiddle around with. But you guys know what Tampa 2 is, Paul Runner, right? Really don't have to go over this, but this is just a split field coverage. So I have that there, cover 2 zone, and then I want to get into something that I thought was pretty interesting, double bracket. So double bracket, you may see the play art for it and not be interested in it, but see, this is the thing. Madden has kind of ruined our look or our spin or perspective on double coverage, because Madden has never gotten it right? Where you double this guy on this guy, right, in Madden, and he runs like a deep dig pattern, and you notice that this guy is outside of the dig pattern, and this guy is outside of the dig pattern. That's not how double coverage is supposed to be played, right? From my understanding, when you run like a double man coverage type deal, okay, you want to play to your help. That's what every defense is about. Every single defense in any game. Doesn't matter what the defense is. To me, the biggest rule in all of them is to play to your help. Always, right? Whether it be cover 4, cover 3, cover 2 zone, even cover 0. You may say, well, cover 0 doesn't have any help because everyone's man-to-man, right? Well, your help is the blitz, right? The cover 0 aspect of it, where you know you're going to get a free rusher and you know they're not going to have enough time, so you could be a little bit more aggressive in man-to-man coverage and jump some routes, etc. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more technicality to it, but you should, understand what I'm saying. Or in cover 1 man, where they're playing outside the numbers, your help is the sideline. You may think it's the deep middle safety, right? But that's where they have divider rules. Everything is to your help, right? So when you play double coverage, man-to-man coverage, say this is the receiver, and I'm the corner, and the safety's playing, we're doubling this guy. Why should we play against each other, right? Why not play it to where I play underneath inside, and you play over the top outside, right? That would be a more proper way of doing it. Or I play under and you play over, as opposed to both of us playing outside leverage on the route, which defeats the purpose. So that's how Madden plays it. Every time you played Madden, it seemed as if they weren't helping each other out with the man coverage. Well, when you call double bracket, it is as clear as day. There is no doubt. They are playing in unison, right? So that's what I have here. When you call double bracket against trips, backside, they're going to double this guy, and he's playing man inside leverage and over the number 1. This guy's playing outside leverage and under the number 1, right? It's a little bit funky on the backside, but it's even more clear on the front side where they double the slot, where he's going to play inside under and this guy's going to play outside over. And I'll show you some examples here. I was kind of excited when I saw this. I really couldn't believe it. So that's where I have double bracket. I put it under 2 man. I know it's probably more of a no safety deal, right? I really couldn't figure out the best place to put it. Didn't seem right to put it under cover 4 2 zone. So I just put it under 2 man because it's more of a man coverage deal with both safeties being used as a doubling aspect. Let's take a look at this. Look how he fires down. I think I have him running a slant, right? I mean, that's true. You can't throw this. You just can't, right? Inside under, outside over. Like, you would have to throw, it's just, you would have to fit it into a shoebox. It's just, you can't throw it, right? That's the way it should be done. And that's the way they have it programmed, right? So I believe I checked some other routes, but you can see, look how he triggers down and you got the press. I mean, you just can't throw that guy over there. Here I have a post, and our safety gets beat, so he should be here. So, at least that's good where, some of the ratings aspect can play where you have a safety who's just really bad and he just gets beat, right? So you can't just rely on that all the time. Here I think I ran a slant again. See how that's taken away. Drag. Pretty good. Check this out. We're going to run this little zig route, right? So how should this happen? Stay over. And he's going to trigger all the way down and play under this. Now, I wish they gave us more versatility in this to where I could make it to where the safety played inside and over and the corner played underneath and outside, but I'll take it because this is way better than how Madden had it coded, right? Obviously, we're doubled on the backside. Okay, so that's that, and I wanted to throw in Stump. So when I show it in red, it's in white because it's a true split field coverage, but when I put it in red, that means you have to make an adjustment for it. I'm not going to go into deep detail about what Stump is. Maybe I will in other videos, but I just wanted to throw this in here. All you would have to do is call palms, but you know, now you could call cover six Willie, because you know, again, the defenses are split. We're really only dealing with the front side of the coverage as long as they're playing a stubby aspect over here. In order to call Stump, all you would do is change him from Meg, just change him to a deep third. And when you change him to a deep third in College 25, then they make him play mess on the number 1. What that means is man everywhere but shallow. So if this guy were to run a drag, a hitch, right, then he's not going to attach that and he's going to climb up field. And what I've noticed is I believe he looks for the vertical of number 2. So I have to check that out. So this is why I didn't want to go into deep detail about this, but I wanted to show you how you could theoretically play stuff like Stump, right? In order to do this, though, I have the star on the nickel. You have to user this guy to somewhat simulate Stump. So all you have to do is call palms, cover 6, Willie, whatever, where they're playing stubby on the front side. Just change him to a deep third, and then you have to user this player. And in Stump, you play with outside leverage on the nickel. And then you have rules attached to you, but again, maybe I'll make another video on that, right? But I just wanted to throw this into you, the many different things you can do on defense in the game. And then stress. Stress is just Stump, but just a minor tweak. And I'll show you real quick. All you're going to do is the same thing. You're going to turn him to a deep third, but instead of playing with outside leverage on the nickel, you're playing with inside leverage, right? So the leverage is wrong here because I didn't go into the game and redo this. But again, you're going to use this guy. You're going to play with inside leverage. And I like to play off. I think this was my number 1 defensive call against trips, 3x1 in Madden last year. So I got to check out how it plays this year. Then you have different rules attached to this. So, you know, maybe I'll go over this quickly. Yeah, I might kind of regret this. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this in a different video, right? But, again, I just wanted to show you the different things from split field. And the great thing about palms and how they have that coded. The cool thing in double bracket. And then just kind of loosely go over the rules of, you know, your quarters, cover 6 Willie, cover 9. So you don't have to be overwhelmed with all this stuff. You know, really, when you learn palms and quarters, you're pretty much good to go. Now, cover 9 may be a different animal, right? But once you learn this and you play these enough, and then you start to incorporate cover 9 into your game, then it starts to become kind of like second nature. This is why I can kind of jump into a game and know what's going on, because I've been playing this stuff for years, right? And I know quarters and palms and etc., right? So I hope you got something from this video. This is split safety structure defense against double high, not against double high, but double high defenses against 3x1. And my plans for the game, I don't know how long I'm going to be around. I don't know if I'm going to jump to Madden 25. I don't know if I'm going to stay on College 25. I don't know if I'm going to stop. But, you know, I just wanted to throw some content out there, and hopefully I stick around for a while, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and hope to see you around, man. Peace.